Okay, so what do we do at this point? Well, it turns out that this simulation has kept tabs on how much of the base was actually added. And I can see it right here, total volume of base 20.58. I also know what is the molarity of the acid, and I also know what is the volume of the acid. So really what I'm looking for is what is the molarity of the base. Okay, remember that molarity is a measure of how concentrated a particular solution is. How much of the solute do we have in there? Is it really saturated or is it kind of diluted? Okay, so there is a really handy titration formula that is in your table T, and it would look something like this. It says that the molarity of the acid times the volume of the acid is going to be equal to what? Actually, very easy. The molarity is proportional to the molarity of the base times the volume of the base. Okay, not bad. So then what kind of numbers do we have? I actually have the molarity of the acid. You see it down here, right? And we have the volume of the acid as well. So I'm going to grab those numbers and see. Volume of the acid is 25 milliliters. I'm going to write exactly the number like that so that you can. Okay. I also know the molarity of the acid, which is right here, M of A. So I'm going to put it right here. Molarity of the acid is, I'm going to multiply those two things, 0.2194. All right. And that's going to be equal to what? Okay, what I don't know in this case is actually the molarity of the base. So I'm going to keep that as a variable. I'm going to use MB. You can put an X, whatever. But I like to keep it to know what I'm looking for. And I'm going to go ahead and use the volume of the base that's over here. And that happens to be 20.58. Okay. All right, so I want to solve for the molarity of the base. So I would divide on both sides by this 20.58. Okay, same thing would happen over here, right? That cancels this out. And I solve for the molarity of the base. And at this point, I would have a calculator handy. I have my phone right here to do that. And I'm going to say, okay, 0.2194 times the 25.00, right? And now divided by what? 20.58. And I get a number. And it says 0.266 and a bunch of other numbers, but I'm going to keep just these three numbers should be just fine. You can do the same when you're doing it yourself. And now what I can do, if I didn't refresh this page, the page is ready. This is exactly where we left off before. I'm just taking the numbers and I am throwing them right here into the formula. I got a solution for the molarity of the base. And note that I could actually put that right here. Right? Do you see that? It says after the titration, calculate and enter the molarity of the base. Okay, so we did that. We calculated, and I'm going to enter exactly that number, 0.266. And then when I press OK, I'm going to hope and pray that we did a good job and see whether we're correct. Okay, so let's take a look. Yay, it is correct. It says right there. I mean, for all this work, you should have like fireworks and all this stuff coming up, but this is really what you're looking for. You're looking to do your calculation using the data that you get from every titration that you perform. And then you want to go ahead and enter it. And that's how you would know whether you're correct. Remember that the numbers every time you refresh the page are going to be different. So your titration the first time is going to be different from the second one. It's going to be different from this one that you just saw. So the numbers don't really repeat, which is really cool. So go ahead and have fun. I'm going to show you a third one coming up soon.